What's up guys, welcome to Masamune's Finale on Let's Play Basara 3. It's time for Sekigahara for the 4th time. And this is actually going to be one of my favorite skirmishes at Sekigahara with a particular setup we're going in with. Mitsunari has recruited quite a few allies this time around. So we're going to have a quite interesting array of opponents to fight against in this configuration.
Finally it's here. The time when I can finally avenge the events of that fateful day. Kojuro!
Yes, my lord.
Come with me to Mitsunari. Something might happen and I need you to watch my back.
I will, for that is my vow.
So overall, I think they did a really good job. I'm going to finalize my setup really quick here. I think they did a really good job with the pacing of these campaigns because they are a bit longer than what we had in the previous 3 Basara games. But the fact that you can play like one character's campaign, it's 8 fights long, it takes you about 90 minutes or a little bit more. That's pretty much the perfect session, of playing this game. If you were to play this game for one sitting and sit down and clear one character's campaign, that's a pretty acceptable way to play it. So I think that's actually really great that they paced it that way. And Basara 4 is paced similarly, but it does feel just a little bit longer, and maybe that's just because I'm not as familiar with the stages in Basara 4 as I am in this game, but we'll get there. Alright, so we're finalizing Masamune's setup. I was tempted to go with a different sword type there, the sword that looks like it has 3 blades to it, which would give us, 18 total blades we'd be holding in our hand, which is pretty ridiculous. Almost reminds me of Kadaja's sword from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which is literally just a regular katana with 2 blades, which is a pretty cool concept, and I almost wish there was a rendition of that where the handle would split down the middle, and he could separate it and have it be 2 separate swords. But as you can see right here, this is the same concept with Masamune's swords he has right now, is that they are a single handle with 3 blades.
And
which I don't think would work very well in practicality because all 3 blades would have to be equally sharp, and there wouldn't be a whole lot of room for the force of the blade to separate and for the energy to disperse. I think you would end up it would almost be like you'd be striking something with a blunt object because you'd have 3 points of contact spread out. I don't think it would be the same as, you wouldn't cut 3 times, you would essentially not cut at all because you wouldn't have that one fine point that the blade is cutting through. That's why, things like Wolverine's claws are spread out a little bit more so we don't get that problem. They're also much more pointy and close together. So let's look at our opposition here. Mitsunari definitely recruited a lot of allies, but I don't care how many soldiers he has, we'll cut down every single one of them to get to him.
You ready for this? Just waiting on you, Yoshihiro. Our final hour has arrived. When we finish this up, we'll see.
So the swishy one decided to recruit the big burly bearded men on his side. So we have Shimatsu is on Mitsunari's side this time, and we also have a new character we haven't shown off yet, which is Tachibana Muneshige. And Muneshige we would have fought had we done Otomo Soren stage, which I was thankfully able to avoid. But Muneshige, he uses chainsaw arms to attack, and he is a devout follower of Otomo Soren and the cult of the Zavyists. So he is a big Zavi fanatic, and so for that reason we automatically don't like him. So we have to fight these 2 guys right off the bat. Both of these guys are very, very strong, and they can be very hard hitters. I'm actually more worried about Shimatsu. Shimatsu is again, a very hard hitter. He has a very large amount of health, and I think he is second in strength. In Basara 1 at least, he was second in strength to, well, I guess he was 3rd in strength across the entire game, 2nd to Takeda Shingen, and 3rd to Hana Tadakatsu. So I'm assuming even in this game he's still pretty high up there on the tier list, but Hana Tadakatsu obviously being the top one, which luckily Tadakatsu is on our side this time. We don't have to run scared for him like we did in the previous 2 Sekigaharas. because we're getting ready to take out Mitsunari again this time. I think because we have 5 characters we're playing as, and obviously the next character we're going to be playing as is going to be Yukimura, so he's going to be on the side of Mitsunari, so we're going to be taking out... We're going to be against Ieyasu at Sekigahara more times than we'll be on his side. But again, Shimatsu he's very, very strong, has a lot of health. We're doing really, really good damage with our upgraded weapons, though, and all the accessories I equipped before going into this. And if I can just keep air juggling him with the Dragon Fang move to launch him in the air, and then just keep on with the normal square button attacks from then onward to keep him air juggled, that's a pretty good way to deal damage to him. Most of Shimatsu's attacks are overhead swings. In fact, the majority of his regular melee combo is where he swings that massive, you know, claymore, that girder from a cruise liner he has there. When he swings that thing, it's usually a downward strike, as you can see right here. So we can pretty much tell what direction the sword is going to be coming from at all times. So his sword is massive and does bear some similarities to, you know, the Dragon Slayer from Berserk, or even the Cloud's Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII. And although I will say he's not as fun to play as Guts is in Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, which I'm actually playing right now. Let me know if you guys have what you guys think of that Let's Play. I'm finally uploading it now after talking about it for months, and I'm really excited about it. So again, Muneshige, he can be tricky. He's actually not playable in this game. He's using a charge attack right here, which tells me they hadn't really decided on what his combat sandbox is going to be, aside from the fact that he has his normal melee combo set has eight hits to it. So if you don't parry that right away, you could potentially be strung along for quite a while. Not to mention, like I said, he is a large target, so he's easy to hit. But he does deal a lot of damage, just like Shimatsu. So, wow, that was something else. We dealt with those two heavyweights right off the bat. So, whoever they decide to throw at us now is pretty much child's play compared to that. Of course, as I would say, knowing full well that that would not turn out to be true. So, this map setup is a little bit different than what we had with Magoichi, but it's similar in a way because, you know, we are a third party in this battle. We are not either Mitsunari or Ieyasu like we were the first 2 runs through the campaign. So we're taking a different approach to get to the enemy's camp, and we do have an opportunity to go off the beaten path and take on the other boss enemies. So we have another pair of boss enemies in the center there, and it doesn't look like the camps on either side of the map are occupied by boss type enemies. So when we go up to the center here, we should be able to take out his remaining two allies, his generals, and then move on to Mitsunari himself. So again, it'll be a very different fight because obviously having to deal with Shimatsu and Muneshige, we had to deal with slow, heavy hitters, whereas Mitsunari himself is agile and fast, but a little bit on the squishy side because he has very low health compared to what they have.
Show yourself, or I'll have you thrown back in that wretched cell.
All right. I suppose I have no choice but to play along for now.
Alright, so obviously we knew we would have to fight Yoshitsugu because that's pretty standard fare when it comes to Sekigahara against Mitsunari. But we didn't expect we'd have to fight Kanbe Kuroda, which we finally got him out of the mine in here in the, I would say in the bright daylight, but it's overcast and very ominous looking, so he's probably still in his element, of course. Kanbe Kuroda, from what I understand, is supposed to be blind. Anyway, so again, another little story tie-in I managed to do unintentionally there. I showed off, when playing as Mitsunari, us going into the mines and recruiting Kanbe Kuroda, so to keep consistent with that storyline, here we go. We're fighting against him. He has allied himself with Mitsunari. So, as far as Yoshitsugu goes, Yoshitsugu... Oh, look, they split up into the... I just said we wouldn't have to go over to those different places, but they split up and they went over to the each respective side of the map there. So we're not fighting them in the same encounter anymore. That would have been, honestly, I would have rather just kicked both their asses at once. But unfortunately, we'll have to come over here and do it one at a time. And we'll deactivate the cannon that is launching the canisters of that mist into the center of the arena there, which slows us down. So, as far as one thing I didn't mention before again is Muneshige will always ally with Mitsunari. I mentioned a few characters that will always ally with Ieyasu, that always ally with the Eastern Army. Otomo Soren and Muneshige, by extension, will always ally themselves with the Western Army. So, you know, Eastern Army always has Tsuruhime, and they always have, can't remember the guy's name. The one with the mustache. It'll come to me. But anyway, they always ally themselves with Ieyasu, so we finally have somebody that always allies themselves with Mitsunari. Kanbe Kuroda has the slowest combo chain in the game because of his Wrecking Ball. His Basara attack here, the Tornado, can be devastating, and we're actually going to take quite a bit of damage from that. But his regular combo chain is very, very slow just because of the sheer nature of it. So we have just a million years to hit him from when he telegraphs his attack to when we actually have our attack connect, because Masamune is pretty fast overall, so we don't really have to worry about losing that gap, especially with Magnum Step. If we have a hard time, closing the distance on Kanbe Kuroda, Magnum Step is definitely going to help out with that quite a bit. So in terms of Yoshitsugu, with the storyline of, oh cool, he showed up the upgraded cross slash there where we slash upward twice and then we finally do the, we swipe back around. We kind of have to do that in combo though, but it works out. There we go. So anyway, as far as Yoshitsugu goes, we've shown off of the fight against him quite a few times, and I think I talked a little bit about his storyline relevance in the anime and in Judge End, but I'll touch on it right here in spoilers, by the way. So in Basara: The Last Party, the movie, which was more, the storyline there was more so, again, that Mitsunari wanted his revenge against Masamune for defeating Hideyoshi at the end of Season 2 of the anime. Yoshitsugu meets his end when Nobunaga gets resurrected, and again, spoilers, and he tries to attack Nobunaga to demonstrate his loyalty to Mitsunari, and Nobunaga swiftly strikes him down. So in Basara Judge End, though, again, we don't really deal with the whole Nobunaga plot as much. So we still have the remnants, we still have, Oichi and Venerable Tenkei that are up to no good, but it doesn't really come to fruition in Judge End the same way that it does in The Last Party. So, but what we do have in Judge End is, again, Kojiro, being the badass that he is, he always gets a chance to take out a very important character in every season, even though Judge End is not canon or connected to the other series. There's still a couple of themes that still ring true. And one of those themes, again, being that Kojiro always gets to take out, the B villain, the sidekick, regardless as to who gets to take out the main villain. So, in Season 1, he got to take out, I can't remember the guy's name, Akaji Mitsuhide, and in Season 2, he got to take out Takanaka Hanbei. And in Season 3, one of my favorite moments, again, Judge End is not technically Season 3, it's an entirely separate series, but in Judge End, Kojiro got to take out Yoshitsugu in what is probably my favorite fight in the whole series, and the one that I actually somewhat care about. I just don't remember how he got into that situation. Like, why was Yoshitsugu by himself isolated from Mitsunari and the rest of his forces that allowed Kojiro to do that? But again, the Yoshitsugu's fighting style I always think is really awesome because he's constantly throwing those spears at us. And he really does feel like a proper boss, even though You know, he is playable in the game, and he shouldn't be any different than any other character. He just, it feels distinctly different to fight against him than it does any other character, just because he just feels so much more threatening. You don't know what he's capable of, but you know that he can attack you at very, very long range. So we got to be careful about that, of course. And seeing how Kojiro deals with that in Judge End was pretty cool. Alright, looks like we cleared the way finally. We've captured the entire map. Time to go after Mitsunari. And again, I love the Sekigahara fights. They're some of the best parts of the entirety of Basara 3. And I wish that we could see this really open up and have some different factions, like some neutral factions fighting in here, because I know other Musou games are capable of this. In Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, and even in Fire Emblem Warriors, you get to see neutral factions or factions controlled by another banner that come into the fight, and you can fight either of them, or maybe you have one that's allied with you. We have that to an extent whenever we have, you know, the Akachi Mitsuhide versus Nobunaga type fights, where I think we did that playing as Keiji in Basara 2, where we played as Keiji and we had to fight Akachi Mitsuhide and Nobunaga at the same time, and their respective forces were fighting each other. But I think it would be really cool if you had multiple factions on different sides. So if you could see a visually distinct difference in the soldiers that Mitsunari controls versus the ones that came from the Xaviists, the ones that came from Kanbe Kuroda, and so on. And then from our side, you know, you could see Mikawa warriors from Ieyasu, and you could see maybe some of Motochika's pirates there. I mean, maybe that would be stretching a little bit to have some characters that you know, we designate as our sidekick, to have soldiers on the battlefield from them, but I think that would still be really cool. Let me know what you guys think about that. I love the possibilities of making, you know, essentially the replay value never ends there, because you always have a different combination of things that can happen.
Have you and I met before?
Yes. You defeated me at Odawara.
Oh, that was you? How funny. So that must be why you've come here, seeking another defeat.
Talk all you want. I don't care. I'm not here seeking any kind of vengeance. I just wanted to tell you that you're nothing but a mark in the road. In other words, go to hell. Got it?
I don't care about the nonsense you spout, but if your goal is to get yourself killed, I will gladly make sure that mouth of yours stays shut for eternity.
Now it's getting interesting. Show me what you've got. Mitsunari Ishida?
I am here after
Come a long way to kick your ass. Alright, so time for the final battle against Mitsunari. Again, in the movie, Mitsunari's revenge against Masamune was inspired by the fact that he defeated Hideyoshi at the end of Season 2, which left Mitsunari grieving and enraged, much like he is in the game here when it's Ieyasu that killed Hideyoshi. And as a result of that, Mitsunari, one of the very first things he does is he goes after Masamune at his homeland, finds, again, I can't remember the guy's name, and, you know, they have a quick fight in which Masamune runs away from, but you see the effects, the sort of shadow effects of Mitsunari's attacks long after the fact, and we see that Masamune actually suffered some grave injuries from that fight. So, and as a way for Masamune to get his revenge in the movie, his loyal crew fashions him, or forges him, a metal neck brace that he wears underneath his garbs. So he actually, in the final battle of Sekigahara in the movie, Masamune allows Mitsunari to strike him in the neck, and when Mitsunari is taken off guard, Masamune counters with the mother of all air juggle combos and sends him hurtling into the air in the most awesome finishing move ever.
How did I lose to you, of all people? I haven't... Ieyasu! Lord Hideyoshi!
So did you forgive him?
Forgive him? I'm hardly that commendable of a man. His eyes. I've seen them somewhere before. I know I have.
Yes. They're just like yours.
Hell's not a place anyone wants to go, dead or otherwise. To crawl your way out of there, you need a lot of luck. Or something else.
Lord Masamune?
This isn't like me at all. Kojiro, let's get out of here.
Yes, my lord.